Hello CS108, Steve Klein here again, and today I'm going to talk about Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet program. If you're not familiar with spreadsheet programs, what they allow you to do is store and manipulate and display data of some kind, whatever data you might have. Here's what it looks like when you open it. And as you can see, instead of having the big blank spaces that you have in Microsoft Word and kind of the, click here for title type of thing you would get in PowerPoint, what you have is a grid of blank rectangles. These rectangles are called cells, and if you click in the grid, you'll highlight that cell. You can also drag and click and drag and highlight multiple cells if you want to. The cells are in rows and columns, so it'll often talk about cell G9, so it'll reference it by column and then row. What you can do with Excel is store data. When you store data, depends on what you want. The interesting thing is you can store pretty much whatever you want here. But usually you have collections of values that mean something to you. For example, let's say, just for argument's sake, that we wanted to store the days of the week. We could say Monday, and then Tuesday. And then one nice thing about Excel is that it's been programmed so that it knows a lot of sequences. So if you highlight Monday and Tuesday and then hit the little plus bar and go down, it will put more days of the week down. It will expand that order. You can do this with numbers too. You type 1, enter, 2, enter, and Excel knows that that's a sequence. So if you click the little corner box and drag, it will create a sequence based on what you started. Just kind of convenient. Now I'm going to go ahead and undo that because I don't want to see it. Basically, I want to put in some data here. Now I'm going to make up the data for right now. But let's pretend, just for argument's sake, that every single day of the week we happen to do something, or maybe we acquire some coins or something. And the number of coins we have in our pocket or purse or just on the table or whatever is always somewhere between 1 and 100, just to make up a number. We could type those numbers, like on Monday we had 56, and then we had 98, and then we had 2. And we could do that every day and just record how many coin values we had, or how many different coins we had every day. If we wanted to have a little more fun, we might make this a random number. And one thing you can do with random numbers, you can say, I want this cell to be equal to a formula called rand, and let's say rand between, and I'll hit 1, 100, and when I press enter, it generates a random number between 1 and 100. And if I click and drag, it will do that for all of the cells that I select. In fact, I can drag a column wide and it will fill in all of those, which is kind of cool. Now, one thing about the rand between function is that it's what's called volatile. A volatile function is one that changes or refreshes whenever you do something to the screen. So if we come over here and type OK and press enter, this is going to change the screen, and it's going to cause the rand betweens to recalculate because they are volatile. So I press enter, and notice that they've all changed. If I hit undo, they'll recalculate also. So it's an interesting function in that it does that. And then let's say I want to know, on average, how many items in coinage do I have every day? And so I can do average, and then I can select the items I want the average of, press enter, and it will tell me on average I have 59.14 coins, which is about right. You'd think it'd be somewhere near 50, so that's a pretty reasonable average. And then let's just say that we did this, for a month. So boom, boom, boom. We did it for let's do 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, just for 8 weeks. What the heck? And then we can calculate the averages by dragging this over, and we get the averages of all these items. We can make it look cool by selecting items and doing borders. Like let's do a border around the whole thing. It gives each one their own little black box. We can do this and make a thick border around the side of it, so days of the week. And let's do a thick border around the whole schmear here. And it just looks kind of cool that way when you do that. One other thing that you can do with Excel is you can make charts to view data. So I've stored some data, I've manipulated it or done something with it, meaning I've calculated an average of it. And now I want to display it. So I'm going to select the averages here. And I'm going to say insert. And I'm going to insert a column chart. So it's just going to give me columns. And I like 3D ones. They look kind of cool. So let's do 3D ones. And now we see that in the first week, we had this much. Second week, third week, all the way to week 8. And it uses the averages that we selected. Now, because it's volatile, one thing that's kind of funny is if we change the random numbers here in our grid of data, the averages will change, and therefore the chart will change. So let me do the OK thing again, and press enter, and boy, notice how they changed. But this is just with random data. So with data that you actually have entered, then it would be a lot more static than that. By the way, the secret word for this video is button, because I happen to be wearing a shirt with buttons, and I need a secret word. Another thing you can do with Excel is notice how Wednesday you can't see all of it. Well, you might want to stretch or widen a column or a row. If you double click, then it will auto size. This is a very convenient feature that I use very frequently. Anyway, if it were me and somebody told me that I had to do my job and I could choose between PowerPoint, Excel, or Word, and I could only pick one, I would pick Excel, because I can write papers in Excel. Even though it looks stupid in the cells, I can still type the whole thing. For example, I can make one cell really big and type a bunch of text in it. Almost the equivalent of a paper can go inside one cell. I couldn't really do a nice animated presentation, but I could put some data on one cell and then make another, on one worksheet, and then make another worksheet and kind of switch to the next worksheet and back and forth, or I could add more. And so I could make a thing that behaves sort of like a PowerPoint slide, but it wouldn't be nearly as cool. So although all three of these products are valuable, in my opinion, Excel is the one that most professionals would choose to use if they could. It's even programmable if you know how to do that, and if you care to. So I hope you've had a good learning experience this winter semester, and good luck in the spring.